everyone. Welcome to episode 70 of the Migtown podcast, the only weekly source for the show that can't count forwards or backwards correctly. As usual, I'm producer Tim. Joining me is Mayor Migtown. Drexel, say hi.
Hello, everybody.
Also joining us in studio today, back from. Do you still got snow over there?
Not anymore. It's all gone now.
Oh, it's all gone? Okay. We still got a little bit left here in Calgary, but back from the snowy tundra. Crumbreon, hello.
Hello.
Your place looks a lot more fluorescent, Crumb. What the hell?
Yeah. And it can also... Let me see here. I don't know how to cycle these stupid things. Oh, I get this to do. There we go. I can make it any color I want.
Look at that. Using these headphones is all out of whack because I sound weird. The feedback comes in weird with these. But the other ones, they like short circuit out because they're so old. I got to get new ones. But this should do. It's only horrible when I'm talking. So as long as you're talking, it comes out well. But like it almost sounds like I'm like in a tunnel. It's this weird kind of thing going on with these headphones. It's like, God damn it. Could you just do what you're designed to do? But Crumb, there's a lot to get to today because we're going to go right in. I mean, I'm talking balls deep in with the Lia Thomas controversy.
Oh, boy.
There's so much going on, and I think you'd be great to talk to about some of these topics that have kind of popped up in the lexicon. As I look at whatever that person that Tim put up there.
Hang on. I can bring it back.
What is Ben Franklin's name?
What is Brent? Oh, Rachel Levine.
Rachel Levine, yeah.
I was like, what is Ben Franklin's name? Oh, I think it's Ben Franklin.
Look, man. Rachel Levine, look, just stop.
So, by the way,
I don't know what the fuck Rachel Levine is doing.
Shameless plug. For those who support us at the $20 level on Patreon or Subscribestar, you get access to a live video feed, so you get to see what we're looking at. But not to worry. We understand this is mostly an audio show for everyone. So we just got a picture of Rachel Levine and beside Benjamin Franklin. Try this game at home. It's quite funny. But that's enough about that.
Well, Cress, there's so much to get to because, the Leah Thomas controversy, as you know, what side I'm firmly on, I am pro Leah Thomas. And I do want to ask you this, first and foremost, what should she do? Let me ask you that. Let's start with her.
What do you mean, what should she do in this entire situation?
Yeah, Leah Thomas is college career is now over, right? So, like, what should Leah do going forward? Though? Yeah. That was the last swim meet.
Is it over naturally, or is it over because of the controversy?
No, over naturally. That was, I think Leah Thomas used up all of her eligibility. Although, I believe Leah Thomas can still try for the Olympics, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's a whole different story. But do you think that's something that Leah should do?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, Olympics doesn't care, obviously. Mm-hmm. Leah Thomas can go to the Olympics and not qualify. That's very much a possibility. There's a lot of things that go into that particular sport, and Leah's not exactly the what's his name? Michael Phelps. She's not exactly the Michael Phelps of women's swimming right now.
Yep. But, I mean, I think Michael Phelps should train Leah, obviously, to become Michael Phelps.
I think Michael Phelps should join the women's Olympic swimming team.
The problem is that Michael Phelps can't teach Leah to have the physical advantages that Michael does. Right? Mm-hmm. Like there's a bunch of stuff that goes into him being the best swimmer, like having the wingspan, having the double jointedness and all this other stuff. Like that's stuff you can't be born with.
Yeah. Now, Drex, you're always talking about keep the same energy, right?
Yep.
So what if someone had plastic surgery and made themselves into Michael Phelps? Let's assume it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think everyone would keep the same energy and say, well, that's an unfair advantage, you should disqualify him?
They
Well, I
would
think that
start
would
saying
be.
that's performance enhancing.
Yeah,
right?
I think that would be.
Yeah, the definition of performance enhancing is based on the era you live in, right? So if you compete in an era where they were popping amphetamines, I believe that was Mickey Mantle's era, they're going to say, I mean, that wasn't performance enhancing. I believe Babe Ruth was a product of a performance enhancing era. He didn't play against the best. His numbers are outrageous because he didn't play against the best players, plain and simple.
No, exactly. Well, Babe Ruth played in an era where people were throwing 60-mile-per-hour fastballs.
Yep.
The man was like 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Crushing them.
Crushing. Like people. Here's the thing: could Babe Ruth play baseball? Yes. Is Babe Ruth great at the sport of baseball? Yes. Could Babe Ruth get those same numbers going against the true best? Absolutely fucking not.
No.
You know, it's insane. Like the people who make it out to Babe Ruth is just like God. I'm like, look, dude, stop. Obviously, I wasn't there. When Babe Ruth was playing, none of us were. But like you don't have to be there to look at something and go, I can see why you got the numbers you got. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you had a lot of great players from the Negro League. You had a lot of great players that were around the world. The game itself was not global. That being said, Babe Ruth was the best that he could possibly be for his era, for what he was allowed to do. Because it reminds me of? It reminds me of boxing, right? When someone says, well, Chris, who says that this person's so great? Because they only beat blah, blah, blah. They couldn't have beat this person. It's like, but they couldn't have fought that person from the 70s in the 90s. You see what I'm saying?
A
you could only fight
great
who you could fight.
example, though, would be Wilt Chamberlain.
Yep.
That man, he would not be putting up the numbers in today's NBA.
No, well, the game has changed. I would say this, though. Because Wilt was a physical mutant,
He was massive.
I believe his numbers would actually. This is actually crazy to think. I believe in some ways his numbers would be better.
Well, with the 3-point line, absolutely.
Yeah.
The man could literally stuff the ball in from the 3-point line with his
all
hands.
the rules. There are people out there who don't understand, right? Like we all call Michael Jordan the GOAT. We get it. However, if you're being 100% realistic and someone asks you who is the flat out best, it actually is Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh, absolutely.
And it really isn't close. If the game, basically, I've always said Wilt Chamberlain was like the broken DLC character, right? Every single rule in basketball, for those of you guys who don't know, every rule in basketball comes directly from Wilt Chamberlain, right? When people say Drex, what do you mean by what does that mean? The modern game. Okay, 24-second shot clock is a direct result of Wilt Chamberlain because the team was playing keep away and the final score was 11-12. And they said, this will ruin the game. Because they're like, well, every time Wilt Chamberlain gets the ball, he scores. So they said, okay, 24-second shot clock. The lane used to be thin, right?
Yeah.
Wilt was too massive. So what did they do, Chris? They widened the lane. 3 seconds, because Wilt was just camping in the lane. Guess what they did? Wait a minute. Because what did the other team say? They complained that Wilt was able to overwhelmingly dominate everybody by just standing there like this. So they said, okay, nope, not 3 seconds, then you got to get out. The free throw line, he was broad jumping from the free throw line.
Yeah.
And they took that away. So now when you get the ball, when the ref passes the ball to the shooter and you dribble the ball, take a deep breath and shoot. The guy who's shooting the free throw can't fucking move until the ball hits the rim. The reason for that is because Wilt was going like this, launching it and then broad jumping from the free throw line. So they said, this is broken. Like, this wasn't the intent of the game. All these rules. Chris.
Unlocking God mode in NBA 2K.
He was literally God mode. Like,
yeah.
Let's
just say, to that point,
Yep.
most of the NBA players at that point in time were 6-foot white dudes.
Yep.
And you have this 40-foot black man step onto the court.
Mutant athlete. He was high jumping 7 feet.
Yeah.
There's actually a video. I showed it to Kat. Shout out to Wifey, by the way. Showed it to Kat, and it shows Wilt Chamberlain's feats of strength, right? And it talks about the fact that when you're looking at Wilt, Wilt lifted with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Prime Arnold, right? Because they did a movie together.
Yep.
So Wilt is lifting with Prime Arnold. Guess who ended up walking out of the gym and never lifted again? Arnold. He's a mutant. This is Prime Arnold. This is not fucking 60-year-old Arnold. So he's a literal mutant. He was doing triple jump, similar like Bo Jackson, right? Where Bo Jackson was doing things that were so out of control that people said, no, it can't be real. And then when you see it, you go, oh shit, it's real. So they have to what? They have to basically nerf him to allow other people a fair opportunity.
Exactly.
So the Lia Thomas thing, Lia was ranked, I looked it up, the 462nd best male, right?
Yes.
And then when Lia did this whole transition over to the women's game, swimming, Lia's number one. Shocking, right? Now,
Not very shocking, but...
Well, it shocked me because gender's a fucking social construct, you bigot. Now,
How dare you?
How dare you, Cress? Now, Cress,
Self-hating.
No, Chris,
Cress
here's going to be the great thing. This is the reason why I support Leah. What happens when a person who's not the 462nd best biological male decides, wait a minute, I'm number 103, and so I'm much better than Leah, right? What happens when the 100th best biological male hops into women's swimming or women's tennis, women's golf, women's basketball? Now, Chris, I'm anxious to see this. As you know, I've said this on Nick Recada's show. Shout out to my man, Nick. I want nothing short of death and paralysis. Okay? Nothing short. I don't want any of this Drex don't say that. No. Death and paralysis. Now, you can't do that in the swimming pool, right? But you can do that in the WNBA. You can do that in mixed martial arts, rugby, lingerie football league. Now, do I want to see a dude in a thong? No. However, I do want to see a stunning and brave woman absolutely breaking these bitches in half, Chris. Literally breaking them in half.
I do have to compliment Lia Thomas's wax game. Very, very well done.
Yeah. Shout out to getting all the grooming done. Better than Rachel Levine. The fuck that was, whatever that Benjamin Franklin looking ass. Now I got to ask you this though, Chris, because this is where a lot of the controversy comes from. What about the biological female swimmers and their parents? What should they do about this going forward? Because they're the ones doing the most reeing, right?
Bottom line, what it comes down to, when you look at that podium, the person in first is the tallest, the second person is the second tallest, the third person's the third tallest. Fucking get better.
That's
grow,
right.
I guess. This is the thing. When you look at this, it doesn't not make sense, right? It's like the better athlete won the day at that particular thing. That's what it comes down to. The better athlete ended up taking first place. There's a number of things that go into that, right? Do you think that a 3 foot person is going to beat Usain Bolt? I don't think so, because Usain Bolt is a fucking monster.
So
you don't
Ethan
matter.
Ralph?
Yeah. There are things that people are built to do better than others. That's why we have competitions about these things. Why people are upset that a good swimmer is beating other good swimmers. I don't know.
Well, that's why I like team sports, because you can still... When's the last time you've seen a true upset in an individual sport? Like Usain Bolt wins every run.
Yeah.
And the world would end if he didn't win the 100-meter sprint.
Well, it'd be very curious if he did. Right?
Yeah. We'd have to wonder, maybe did he pull something? Did he hurt himself?
Yeah.
Did he throw it intentionally?
But look at sports that you can have the most. I'll use baseball as a prime example here. You have the most ridiculously athletic person on a fucking team, and he can still lose to some guy they roll out on the fucking mound, Bartolo Colon, who's 800 fucking pounds and just literally throwing fucking 300 mile an hour fastballs still somehow. But you can have the biggest, buffest guy that can't hit a fucking pitch from the dude. There's no advantage here. This is just what it is. But that's the most 1v1 sport is baseball.
Yep.
Like you have team sports in hockey where you can have a lot of protection for people who are not as athletic, but in baseball there is no protection for that. In
Have you been
baseball,
watching-
it's what's that?
Oh, sorry. Have you been watching women's curling?
Women's curling is, and that's another interesting one too.
Drex, that's a great sport to watch because you have 4 women on the ice just yelling, "Hooray! Hard!"
Yeah.
But that's a sport where they have mixed men and women competing.
Yep.
And there's no difference between a woman's team, a man's team, or a mixed team.
I would say the man's team is better at hitting. When's the last time you've seen a good double takeout from the women's team?
Well, I don't
barring
watch a
last
whole
night.
lot of curling outside of the Scotties, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
I always watch it during the
But
Olympics.
Cress, you're spot on. It's because what I'm getting at is, obviously the next obvious question would be, what should the NCAA do, right, in the schools?
That's
because
exactly
so
what
I
it
want
should
your
be.
take on that, because what I believe, and then I'll get to you. What I've always believed in all this is that, because obviously, my ultimate goal is total and permanent gender segregation. However,
Yeah.
in order to get there, first we need total gender inclusion. So there shouldn't be a WNBA and an NBA. There should just be NBA best athlete forward, right?
You already know how that would turn out, though. We've seen it happen. We've seen forced inclusion in the National Hockey League, where they force women, not even forwards, because we have, let me say this. I've met Haley Wickenheiser, and she is a fucking freight train of a human being. Like, she could pick me up and spin me around with one fucking hand. Like,
Drex, she could probably
massive.
pick you up.
Yeah.
I've never
seen
heard of
her-
this person.
I've seen her. She's a Canadian legend women's hockey player.
Wait, what's her name?
Haley Wickenheiser.
Yeah.
Haley
I can pull a picture up,
Wickenheiser.
but if you give me a second. But I have met her in person. She was doing a signing here in Calgary, and she's a fucking strong woman.
She is. She's
Literally strong
she's
woman.
really nice. She's like a wonderful person. But Jesus Christ, she's massive. She's fucking massive. So
And,
like for people out there to be like, oh well,
5'10".
women are not this or that.
What's her
I
weight? She's 5'10".
Drex, never ask a woman her weight.
Well, because here's the thing. At 5'10", I'm looking at her physique, and she, don't get me wrong, she looks pretty tough.
And if you're looking at any of her older pictures where she's got the blonde hair, like that's her in her 40s.
Okay.
I mean, the wall was kind to her.
yeah.
The wall was kind to
Oh,
her.
I'm seeing a picture when she was younger. She had more like a brownish hair.
She's got a hell of a chin. Holy shit.
Yeah,
does.
she looked much more androgynous in this picture. We looked like when she was playing.
Mm-hmm.
I
She's
do
been out
know
of hockey
this.
for quite a long time now.
I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
she's an announcer now, I think.
She's an assistant coach, I think, with the Maple Leafs.
176 pounds.
Yeah, against a
120
biological
pound.
man who's about, let's say, 220. If he goes and checks her, she's hurting bad,
Yeah.
real bad.
See, at that height and weight, 5'9" would be on the shorter side of males NHL, but she wouldn't be the shortest. There'd
No,
be
she
maybe
wouldn't
a
be the
dozen
shortest.
players shorter than her. In terms of weight, again, there'd be maybe a dozen players lighter than her. She wouldn't, and the NHL is one of those sports too that if you're not physically imposing, then you use your smooth skating and your skill to go
Exactly.
around people, right?
Yeah, because Wayne Gretzky was not heavy because the
Nope.
nature of his position, he played center, and
Well, and he was
you look at-
protected.
he's very protected.
They had 2 lumberjacks on the line with him.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with Sid the Kid. I mean, I watched Sidney Crosby play when he first got to the league, and I understood. To me, like I said, I'm not even a hockey guy. And I can understand. I'm like, okay, I get it. He's like the new Gretzky, and he needs to be protected, right? That's why you have your goons. And see, I don't want any of these biological females protected. I want them out there getting paralyzed and yeeted. And they need to
the thing
understand.
is, the NHL's bringing in women to play on teams, but they're not playing forward or defense. They're playing goal.
Yeah, see, I'm not okay with that. I don't want.
They're
any
getting
women
obliterated.
playing defense. Huh?
I don't know, Drex. You remember that one goalie who got his neck opened up by a skate?
Yeah.
First time that happens to a woman, that puts an end to the dream overnight.
Yeah, that was. Well, I don't want to see that happen to anybody. Anybody. Yeah. That's the picture I saw. Yeah.
Yeah. She's got a good face, I gotta say. I mean, the wall was kind to her.
Well, I want to ask Cress this. Cress, what do you think this means for women's sports and society at large going forward as these agendas keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed? And then, like, they're going to get smacked up against reality. You know that. I know that. But, what do you think about that?
They're getting what they don't... Like, they're getting what they asked for, but they don't want what they asked for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is what it comes down to. They wanted this... women's organizations wanted this. They never thought they'd get it. They just thought that they would continually go and stand on the soapbox and complain that they were never going to get it. They're getting it now, and they don't like the outcome, right? I don't remember if it was a year or two ago in the NHL, or a few years ago when the NHL brought in the first female goaltender. I think she had 7 goals on 7 shots.
Yep. Yeah, they don't have the same hand-eye coordination.
Well, and today's goalie in the NHL, size is everything.
Exactly.
If you're not 6'7", get out of the net.
Exactly.
What is it? Bishop is 6'10" or something.
He's a fucking
Vasilevsky's 6'11".
He's an obelisk, man. They're huge. And
Drexel, when they're on their knees, their shoulders come up to the crossbar.
Yeah. Oh, no. I see it. It's similar to in football, right? Okay, go look at the size. For all of you who are aware of American football, go look at the size of linemen and linebackers back in the 60s, right? You're like, oh, yeah, these are big guys, right? Then look at what they look like today. Cress, you get hit by one of these dudes at that level, you could literally die. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You look. I don't know if you've ever seen that show. It used to be on ESPN called Sports Science, right? And they show they were basically saying every single time you were on a field in the NFL, when you take a hit, it's like being in a car crash.
Oh
right?
yeah,
going I think it's somewhere between 15 to 30 miles an hour, depending on the hit, right? So that means basically you're just going through a series of car crashes, right, throughout the game. Just hit.
That's why they have an average of 7-year careers.
Yeah. The average NFL career is 3 to 4. That's it.
Drex, you see someone like Ndamukong Suh or Vita Vea, who else? Oh fuck, Vince Wilfork. Remember him? Yep. He used to pick up a 300-pound lineman and throw him back into the quarterback.
Yeah, man. Yeah. When he was playing with Brady up there in New England, and Big Vince was. I mean, these are huge. These are behemoth dudes, right?
Yeah.
And Chris, the reality will soon come. Like I said, I'm an accelerationist, so I want all this to happen yesterday. You see what I'm saying? Because I want to get all of this the fuckery over with. Because you said it best. You said they were complaining, thinking that they would never get it, right? Because that's really what it was about. It's like, we need something to bitch about. So what we're going to bitch about is that we aren't being paid enough, and we aren't being included, and you need to support trans rights, and if you don't, you're a fucking bigot, misogynist, sexist pig. So then the guy said, you know what? You're right. And then they went like this, rolled out the red carpet. Cress, I have said this to you before in the past. I said this is what bothers me about the whole dynamic. For the guys out there, right? The trans community, especially male to female trans, has never been against men ever. I've never actually heard them say yeet all men, I hate men. I've never heard that, right? Have you? I haven't.
No.
I keep looking.
Drexel, I have to tell you,
because
I mentioned this on a stream a couple weeks, about a week or so ago, and I'm like, man, I have to tell Drexel this. Did you know that a week or two ago, I didn't even know this, that it was Detransition Visibility Day?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I remember that. No, Drex, I told you about that. It was it was the day before St. Patrick's Day, right?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember saying that. It was like, what are you doing?
Day.
I have something for Tim there. This was sent in the chat.
Oh yeah, I can throw that up.
There are more and more people waking up to what's going on.
And my point that I wanted to bring up to you on this, Drexel.
Mm-hmm.
I looked through the hashtag when it was trending on Twitter, okay, to see all of the stories about the brave people that detransitioned after being fooled or whatever. I kid you not, 100% of the hashtags, like 1 million out of 1 million people that were trans that detransitioned were female to male trans.
Oh.
There was not one.
Wait, where the hell's my shocked
male
Pikachu
to
face?
female trans.
Oh, hang on one. God damn it! I gotta cue these things up.
Chris, no. No, it can't be.
100%.
No, all right, Chris, no.
It's like going into Dark Souls and setting it to hard difficulty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that, Chris.
Yeah.
So Chris, now that leads into a topic that doesn't get talked about enough. Male privilege versus female privilege. Now, Chris, there are people out there who don't know the truth. I do. There's no such thing as male privilege at all. Literally none. Now, here's what will happen if you're a male. You'll be taken more seriously when it comes to like speaking and stuff, right? People will like listen to what you say more often. And if you present yourself as a male, yes, you will, someone will, I guess you could say, argue, test you a little less, right? Maybe. Even though, males are the victims of violent crimes far more than women. Now, that being said, everything else, Chris, is pro-women, right? If you start crying as a someone who looks like a man, no one helps you because no one fucking cares, right?
Yeah.
So let a woman cry on a bench, especially if she's attractive. Oh my God, what's wrong? How can we help? See, people
I've
care.
actually done that before.
People care.
I'm ashamed to admit that.
They care. People care. And when a guy comes up and says certain things, right? If a guy walks up to the state house, right? He walks up to Congress.
My
he walks
tacos
up.
are here. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, Drex, the only reason I stopped and asked anything was she was in the middle of the road and I couldn't drive any further. But yeah, just out there on the road, sobbing and crying. So I like that you took a picture of the painting behind you and that's your picture for StreamYard.
Yeah.
I wish the digital version existed somewhere because I'd love to put that up on
it's so
any
tough.
of the channels.
Yeah, there's no way to really get it because all it's going to do it's so reflective. So it's like,
I have a question. So this picture, why is the straight white man not on the white arm?
I know, right?
It seems a little backward. It's really bothering me.
But Chris, we talked about that last time, which is why haven't the two groups who should be joining forces? It's like there's this divide. It's like they can't get out of their own way. It's like, when are you guys going to understand that quote unquote straight men and then male to female trans are the absolute biggest allies to each other?
Well, it's
and they
true.
just won't accept it. They live. It's like both. It's like neither side wants to just see the obvious truth. That's why I think the Lia Thomas controversy is so telling, because I went to a lot of comment sections, right? I just wanted to see what was the pulse of like the nation, right? And this is no lie. I started seeing for the first time a true split, right? Like especially like on more conservative leaning places, right? Where whether it be the Fox News thing, Jeremy from the Quartering did a video on this, right? And he was against Lia Thomas, right? And I went in the comments section. And what do I see in the comment section, Chris? Uh-oh. I saw people saying exactly what you just said. This is what they fucking asked for. So deal with it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And, one of the biggest things is that, when it comes to, we got to change this. See, they already changed everything for women because this is what they asked for. Anything guys ask for, no one cares, right? If guys ask for something in sports, right? Their heads are getting concussed. They're all messed up. They're yeeting themselves at a higher rate than any other type of person. No one cares, right? It's a clip note. Oh well. But as soon as women go, Leah won. Now, where's all the female to male winners? Oh wait, that's right. There are none. Literally zero, right? And when you talk about detransition day, Chris, are you saying the same women who transitioned to male and thought their life was going to be so easy because they believe the feminist lie? Talk about it, Chris. What kind of what's the comments that were there? What were they saying?
If you want to curl up with a nice hot cup of cocoa on a Sunday afternoon, look up the hashtag Detransition Awareness Day, you will find the most ridiculous tweets. Like I swear to God, the most ridiculous things you'll ever read on Twitter. It was full of people just being like, I'm going to quote one. I'm going to quote one here where she said that she transitioned when she was 15. Yep. Right? She was 15. She went to the doctor. She didn't have like any screening, whatever. They just gave her pills. They did the top surgery, like got the teats heated, whatever else. She said, oh, and I found out years later. She's like, I'm 25 now. I found out years later that I wasn't trans. I was just autistic.
Shocking. Oh. So
they're transitioning because we don't fit in with our friends, and we I don't relate to other girls and all this stuff. So that means I'm trans, and that means I have to make this life-altering fucking surgery. And now I'm having like, and then they turn it into this whole thing. It's like, oh, now I have cysts on my uterus, and I have to, and I can't wear cute dresses because I don't have boobs, and blah 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 blah. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, literally, what are you talking about? They're making it all about themselves, and it's a fucking 100% hashtag of that entirely. Like, that's it. There's no male to female detransitioners at all in this fucking thread. I looked. Not one.
That is hilarious. This is beautiful.
That story.
This story, for those of you who can't see, it says, well, let me read the comment first so it gains some perspective. The comment says, "This breaks my heart. I've now spoken to many young women who tell similar stories. I'm appalled that you were let down in this way by people who had a duty of care towards you. Hoping to God the tests give good news and sending you much love. Heart." Now, what's the story? Here's the story, ladies and gentlemen. At 16, I was prescribed testosterone after 2 quote-unquote therapy visits.
Yep.
They didn't ask about my BPD, so bipolar personality disorder.
Or borderline personality.
Or borderline. I say, borderline personality disorder. Or past trauma. I now have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, if I recall. Am awaiting testing to determine if I need a hysterectomy / have cancer, and I will never be able to afford breast reconstruction. My consent was not informed.
Yeah.
Fucking die slow. Fuck these people.
You know, women transition and women most affected, right?
Yep. Isn't that crazy? I mean, Chris, you can't make this up, right? Like,
I'm telling you, this is what the entire hashtag is. Like, every fucking tweet is that. Is like,
I know you were looking, weren't you?
Exactly.
You were looking for the dude. Like, this is the worst thing ever.
I'm looking for anything for like male to female trans.
Yep.
Not fucking one. Not a single one. I'm telling you,
Chris. You don't look. You just telling me that just made my dick hard. That's how much I love getting news like this on a fucking Friday night. I love it because, see, the lies, right? The lies have now been exposed, right? You can't keep faking the funk. Now, that actually leads me to a question that I think you would be most qualified to answer. Based on this and following this thread, Chris, what do you believe is going to be the ultimate fate of one Elliot Page, that little manlet?
Oh, you know, once the clout that runs out and all the media running to Elliot about, oh, tell us about transitioning and the struggles and the blah 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 blah. Once all that shit runs dry and Elliot's finally just another guy and just stops getting roles because no one fucking cares about Elliot Page anymore. Oh, it's gonna come out, I wasn't trans the whole time. I was gaslighted. I didn't know. I wasn't this. I wasn't that. Now, woe is me. I can never have children. And blah, 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 blah.
My guess is that ends up with a needle in his or her arm at some point, slumped over beside a bedpost.
No, they don't. This is the thing. I had this discussion on a previous podcast. I was talking with Crow about it. You don't see that. You see the 41%. Like, I want to see the demographic between male to female 41% and female to male 41%, because I guarantee you 99% of that 41% is male to female, because the female to male can transition back to female very easily and then farm that for clout. They don't have anything to worry about other than like, oh, we don't have like, oh, I can't afford breast reconstruction. Oh, woe is me. Just throw money at me. Look at the scars on my chest. Like, they don't fucking care because they don't have life altering like destruction to their bodies if they go through this stuff. Whereas you have males going to female that are doing it because undiagnosed bipolar, undiagnosed borderline personality, undiagnosed anxiety, depression, insert trauma here. Some people are schizophrenic and they get just thrown fucking pills at to do whatever. And then that goes through, and then they think, okay, well, magically, if I just go through this surgery and I just go through this stuff, everything's going to change, and it doesn't. Then you turn into a fucking Chris Chan. Like, oof. That situation, you can't just snap your fingers and go back to being like just going off of estrogen. That fucks with your entire body. Like, it's an entire thing that you can't. Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't put it back in.
Yep.
For women, it's different. For female to male trans, it's different because you can. Like, after stopping testosterone, then they start to ovulate again. They don't just have everything ripped out from them. I mean, some people do, but that's not the way it works. And you have stories of people who detransition and then go right back into the life. And then they later on, like we saw right here in that fucking timeline of tweets, people just milking it, making it all about themselves. Like, oh, woe is me. I was taken advantage of by the medical community. Fuck off. Hell you were.
That's always been fraudulent to me. And Chris, the thing that I think stands out the most, right, with Lia Thomas, Nevada, the Miss Nevada was male to female transgender, and I don't know if it was credit to Ben Shapiro, but I saw this meme that said men are better women than women, right? Men are better at being women than women. Now, Chris, what do you think? Obviously, like I said, okay. Women are always going to be primarily beauty objects, right? They're beauty objects. They're sex objects, whereas men are success objects and strength objects, right? So when it comes to, that's why you don't see women succeed as men, right? Like a woman can't say, I transitioned into a man, and now, oh my God, Crest, I am just dominating men. That's why it never happens, right? It's like you said, when the clout is gone, when all the attention and, oh my God, you're so stunning and brave, when that's gone and you're just left alone with your own thoughts, it's like, oh shit. Whereas the dude, Chris, it's the opposite. The dude gets the clout, and if a guy transitions, his life got easier. So, Miss Nevada, as a trans woman, like, resources are there for you if you transition, if you look feminine, right? If you're a feminine looking person, your life gets easier because like resources will come to you, right? Men will pay for you to a point, right?
The thing is you have to have that privilege, though. That is a privilege in the trans sphere of things.
Pretty privilege.
If you don't look feminine,
correct,
and you're transitioning to feminine, then
like Rachel Levine,
you get doors slammed in your fucking face.
Yeah, Rachel Levine had like 48 doors slammed in the face and made him look more and more like fucking Benjamin Franklin. Because I don't know what that creature looks like, man. And my thing is this, though, Cress. As we go forward, there's all this push and all these agendas at play, right? Yeah. And they always want to talk about, you know what, Cress? You need to be worried about the science. And I'll tell you what the science says. The science says, let's wait for it. 1 minute, there are 56 genders, right? The next minute, we're in Ukraine. Men must fight. If you have a dick swinging between your legs, you're going to fight. And then what happened, Chris? The male to female trans said what? Oh, we can't fight because we're not men, right? And then what did the Ukraine say?
Well, Ukraine, women are picking up guns. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, not many. Not many. Most of them ran like they always do.
I got a present for you, Drex.
Ugh.
See? This proves Miss Nevada was not a fluke. Would you rather smash Caitlyn Jenner or Susan Horseface?
Well, here's the thing. Caitlyn Jenner, if you didn't know any better, you would think that was like maybe Renee Russo.
Just a tall woman.
Yeah.
Because, Bruce Jenner was very effeminate looking to begin with.
Yeah, well, yeah. Once he did like the longer hair thing on the show, like even I guess you could say that even in like his Olympian days, I guess you could say. Horseface here, Jesus. She's got great legs though, but Jesus. Yeah, look at something. But my thing is this though, Chris. When it comes time for actual accountability, right? When it's time to put some skin in the game, right? Because if a war hit here, we all know women aren't picking up guns. You know that, I know that, right? Canada, a war breaks out.
Well,
the women are going to be like, oh, we got this.
Thing that women in Russia did when this shit happened, whatever, they weren't going out to the front lines and everything else like that. They were more upset of, how am I going to make money on OnlyFans when I can't even access the website because everyone hates Russia now?
Yep. That's what they care about.
The Moscow milkers, Drex.
Yeah. Busting that thing open on OnlyFans. Like, and like, that's what they care about. They don't care about the country, the men, the winning. That's what, like, Chris, I've talked about this in the past. Do you know who was getting on me? It was dudes, right? Bitch made simps. Women actually admit this. Like, yeah, if a war breaks out, I don't want to fight. Of course you don't.
Yeah, of course not.
I wish I had that option. Wait,
men don't even have an option. Like, Chris, in a lot of things in life, men aren't even given an option. Like, I'll give you an example. Have you ever heard a guy say, you know what, Chris, men in general, I don't mean like, the one dude, right? You haven't heard in your whole life a group of men be like this, oh, no, Chris, what are my plans after high school? Please. I'm having a girl take care of me. You don't really hear that shit, do you? I'm going to be a house husband.
Well, Drexel, let's be honest, though. In modern society now, if you were to walk down the street, right, in any metropolitan city at this point in time, and somebody pulls a fucking gun on like an old woman, like, what are the default things that people are going to do? They're going to run the fuck away.
Yep.
Men or women, they're going to run the fuck away, and the other large portion of it is people are going to take out their fucking phones and start filming it.
That's right. Unless your name is Mike Tyson. I know you heard about that story, right? Did you hear about that shit? Hey, man, Mike Tyson's a complete savage. Yeah, a dude pulled a gun out on Mike Tyson. The fucker just stood there. And then asked to shake the guy's hand and give him a hug because he's Mike Tyson. Like everyone like scattered, like, ah! They started running. It's like, dude, this is Mike Tyson, man.
This is Mike fucking Tyson.
This is Mike fucking Tyson. This is Kid Dynamite. Like,
dude would haymaker the fucking bullet.
Right? Like, it's wild to me because, Chris, I want your take on this. When it comes to like, the trans community, how do you personally, and also like the trans community at large, how do you guys view your treatment by the conservatives versus your treatment by the liberals?
Like in general?
Yeah, in general. Like just like in general, because remember, okay, so you've seen how conservatives are treating the trans community, right? Especially male to female, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we tend to see more, right? Like, because there's more of a fuss, because if a man transitions to a woman, that means women are losing. You see what I'm saying? Therefore, we, as a society of fucking bitch-made Western simps, women aren't allowed to lose, right? If women lose, that means that the entire world must change to appease them. Therefore, we need to have awareness about it. We need to change laws. Regulations must change. That's why you do, like, there's no rule from the opposite way, right? There's no real opposition when someone's like, the left will say they're kind of like collapsing on their own narrative, right? Because the left has said for years, we're pro-trans rights, right? Yet you're starting to see what from the left? Do we support women or do we support the trans community?
Well, no.
Right?
The thing is, what you see from the left, from a lot of the visible left, I'll say, the vocal psychotic lunatics on the left, is that they think they know what is best for insert community here, and they're like, no, you are just internalized misogyny. You don't know any better. You've been gaslighted. So we know everything. We know better. We know for you. Just go ahead, read a book, and we'll just tell you what you should be thinking.
Yep.
That's exactly how that goes.
Now, what do you have to say about the some of these conservatives who are, we have to save women's sports? What do you think about those types?
Well, that stuff it's more born out of ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
There's a large contingent of conservative thinking individuals that are more on the like uncomfortable side of things, because there's a lot of people that don't want to talk about trans stuff and LGBT and acknowledge that exists, because like, no, that's just wrong, and so they stay on a part of ignorance. They don't talk to people like me who'd be like, oh, you know what, they're not all actually that bad. Like, they just see the complete like rainbow wig wearing psychos that walk around on Pride Day. And it's like, there's a bunch of people. There's even like conservative trans and conservative gays. Like, there's a bunch of people that walk on the same side as them that they refuse to talk to because of the stigma of what that entails. And it's like, oh, well, we might have to admit that the liberals might be right on this. It's like, no, you don't have to. There's people on both sides of it. And at the end of the day, like, when you look at it, it's like, whether you're completely ignorant or you're in the realm of thinking that you're the smartest fucking person on the face of the planet, they're both wrong about it. I mean, like, people still exist and they still have opinions. You have to stop listening to the fucking extremes. That's what it comes down to. Like, talk to people on an individual basis. Look at things on an individual basis. Don't just paint everything because one side thinks it's better than the other.
Drex, the tradcons will. Like Chris is right. There's anything to do with that rainbow flag, they automatically reject, without even stopping to think for 1 second. Hey, no, wait a second. Actually, if I support this, this makes my argument better.
Yeah.
No, they form an opinion and they'll never change it. It's like what Rush Limbaugh used to say, right? Do you want the terrorists to win?
Ugh.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you want the LGBTQ2A plus whatever to win?
Yeah, I get where these people are coming from, and that's the reason why I love talking to Cress about these kind of topics, because I've seen it play out so often. Because like you said, Cress, you just said something that really stuck with me. You said insert peoples here, right? Because you get it. Whereas you don't see it from a trans thing or a black thing or a white thing. You're like this. No. You can literally insert any group into this box, and it's going to be the same thing. Like, because, I mean, let's face it. If you don't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't black. See, they're always trying to tell you what you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to think. And, Chris, I got to ask you this. Do you think there's a greater need for the trans people to come out against, this kind of narrative, like, and control their own narrative? Because, like, one of the things that it was like you said earlier, right? They always find like the most extreme, crazy, horrible story for confirmation bias, right? Like, oh, well, look what this trans weirdo
it's
drag
always
queen
it's
story.
ma'am
Yep,
story.
it's ma'am. Yeah, this is how they're all like, and it's like not really, because now, like I said, I have fought that all of my life. Because anywhere I go, people are like this. Oh my God, he's the villain. He's the villain of planet Earth, right?
Yeah.
They go, large black man. I was like, well, first of all, how dare you assume my gender, right? And, or my race. I mean, I'm transracial also, right?
Exactly.
And
you're trans-Asian.
I'm trans-Asian, yeah. I'm Blasian, right? And you come at these people, and they don't really have much of an answer, right? Because when you troll them back, they're kind of like, oh, shit. Because they look like idiots. Because they're trying to, like I said, both sides do it, right? The left does it, the right does it. They all want people to be in a box. And I want your take on, like, making sure that you control your narrative so that you, Cress, aren't going to be grouped in with it's ma'am. You see what I'm saying? Or the crazy at the rainbow parade where, you got basically fornication happening in front of minors and gimp suits and shit, right? Like, how do you make sure that you aren't a part of that narrative, that crowd?
It's a tough one. It's a tightrope to walk, right? Because I support people like Doug TenNapel, for example, and I get called out. I get called a self-hating, misogynistic, blah 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 blah. I get called all sorts of things, and like I make fun of every side equally. I make fun of Trump as much as I make fun of Biden. I make fun of the conservatives as much as I make fun of the liberals. Like, I don't have an affiliation for one thing or the other, and I tell people constantly, like, I don't need to be put in a fucking ivory tower and protected. even though I get beaten down all the time by my own group of individuals saying it's like, well, no, women are supposed to be this, and you shouldn't talk about this, or you shouldn't have opinions, or blah 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 blah. Just let things go. Just let things die down. Like, no, just be a fucking person. Be your person. If you don't like, I use Doug TeNapel as a fucking sounding board for this. If you don't like someone telling you what their opinion is, that's a you problem. That's not their problem. Mm-hmm. If you can't handle the fact that someone has a different opinion than you, that's something you need to fix. You can't change other people's opinions because that makes you feel uncomfortable. You have to overcome what makes you uncomfortable about that, and then form your own opinion, have solid ground for you to stand on so that you can argue your opinion. And so you can actually have that conversation and grow as a fucking person and not just shy away all the time and be like, well, no, the whole world has to change because I'm offended. It's like, no. If someone tells me like, well, you're an alt-right. No, I'm not alt-right. There's plenty of things that I do that are on the left side of the spectrum. And it's like, well, then you're a psycho-leftist. You're like, oh, it's man, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not. There's plenty of things that I do on the right side of the spectrum too. People just have to learn how to be individuals because we've been so far along in the past 30, 40 years being taught to be good little sheep, good little people, stay with the herd. Politics is all about which team you play for now. It's not about the politicians. It's not about the politics. It's about what fucking color of shirt they're wearing. Mm-hmm. It's all of this stuff. It's been socially engineered for so fucking long. We forgot how to be individuals.
Yeah, well, it's driven people further apart also because, I got to ask you this, Chris, because it's one of, if not the biggest criticism of, when it comes to, like I said, I call it the rainbow flag, right? Because they incorporate so many different things. And all these groups are infighting. A lot of people don't know that. Like, lesbians hate everybody, right?
Oh, yeah.
They hate gays the most. They hate gays. They hate trans. The fucking
huge fight between lesbians and gays when the LGB first came out about which side was better, and then the fucking dumpster fire when they included bisexuals into that too. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's always been, and that's always been my thing, Chris. Is that it took me a while to truly understand. I'm like, wait a minute, who is the person that's really attacking me? Because like I said, throughout my life, I started realizing it wasn't the gay, it wasn't the G under that banner, right? It wasn't the T under that banner. Like I started going down each letter, right? And I was like, have these people been coming after me personally? And I started thinking about no, there's only one group that's been coming after everybody. It was always the women. Yeah. It was always them. Right?
Well, there's a huge schism right now. I think I've talked about this briefly before. About how it used to be the old guard for women used to be how it'd be a matriarchy, how the younger women would always prop up the older women would have all of the power and they'd make all the decisions, and then when the younger women got older they would pass the mantle over down to them and they would take over, and then the same cycle would happen over and over again. But we saw that flip on its head with the advent of the internet, because now younger women don't need to follow what older women are saying, even though older women are basically instilling that misandry from year over year. They're saying well, this is how you have to be. You always have to be on your guard. You have to clutch your purse tight to you when you walk down the street and you see a black man. This is stuff that's taught generation over generation. That's it's tribal knowledge with women. And this, when I never would have believed this if I hadn't transitioned, because these things are taught to me by other women. I'm not part of the sisterhood because I don't adhere to the bullshit. But the thing is there's two warring factions now, where you have the younger women that are taking power instead of doing things the old way, the proper way, and you have the older women who are holding on to that power because now they have other avenues, and now there's this big fight internally. It's such a fucking dumpster fire. But now they're all together just blaming men because what is switching? Let me ask you this, Drex. What is swaying this power battle between old frumpy women and young attractive women?
Oh, simple.
Is it other women? It's not, right?
Oh, it's very simple. It's the attention that the hotter younger women are getting, and the attention and the resources like you said, from the advent of the fucking internet and
Exactly.
social media. That's what changed. Because when you start to really look at it, Cress, you're right. There was a matriarchal hierarchy before.
Yes.
It was like this. Yeah. The older women, basically, like you said, they were like passing this information and culture down. Because women are the first teachers of culture, not men. So when babies are born, do you know how they learn culture? They learn, remember, it's supposed to be, right? Supposed to. The natural order is that they learn it from mom. So while dad is out working, guess what happens to the baby? The baby and the young children go like this. Wait a minute. Mom, why are we eating? I'm hungry. We don't eat until who gets home?
Until dad gets home.
Dad gets home. So then they realize, so now dad is the authority here,
Yes.
right? So now they understand. See, when you have a bunch of single moms, guess what happens, Chris? They look over. There is no dad. We got McDonald's. Why am I this? Why am I that? It's because of a man, right?
Yeah.
Man bad. So now that they have that, you see this in the black community, I think, most often because you have the most single mothers.
Yes.
The reason why there's so much and this is the thing, it's not anti-man, it's anti-masculine man.
Yes.
Because you've seen a flip. The black community used to be extremely ultra-conservative. Now they're out here just celebrating fucking Lil Nas X, dudes out here wearing hot leather pants, open shirts, getting their cheeks clapped. And the black community, like basically is co-signing this fuckery, right? The black church is nothing but degeneracy and pansexuality and pedophilia bullshit. And then so when a real man shows up going, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Do you think that he's champion? They're like, oh yeah, I'm glad he's coming to clean it up. No, Chris.
Because
they meet him with contempt.
After so many years of social engineering and getting to this point, you have pigeonholed masculinity to a point where, the ideal masculine man now is someone who just bends a knee and just takes it up the ass.
Yep.
I mean, like Jack Murphy, whatever his name is, like prime example. Like this is 100% being taught so that men will take ownership and responsibility so women don't have to.
Yep.
And it's like women could go out and commit a crime and men get blamed for it. We saw that over history, like plenty of times over history, plenty of times with serial killers. It was a lot of the time like the couples. It was the women that were manufacturing everything and the men just carrying it out.
Yep.
Because of that. This has been going on for a long time. Now it's out in the open, and now this is the acceptable thing to do. It's like, well, why don't you just take ownership of it? Why don't you just take ownership? Be a man, be a man about it. Well, where are women taking responsibility for the shit that they do?
Yeah,
there
these
is
bitches
none.
need to grow some ovaries. They always want guys to grow some balls. I tell these hoes to grow some ovaries, right? And the reason why, I have to bring that up, though, Cress, is because, like I said, the biggest criticism that affects the trans community is the whole pedo agenda, right?
Oh, for God's sake.
Now, I want you to touch on the fact that, if you're on the non-pedo side, and yet here you are looking at all of these people, like I said, drag queen story hour, where they're literally flashing their dick to children, right?
I'm gonna pop off on this.
Go ahead, man.
For just a minute.
Go
here.
for it.
I won't stop
Let me
you.
just say this. Did you? I don't know if you really. I don't know who you follow on social media, if anybody, but there was a voice actress for the anime Ruby, that had just made a statement, a stunning and brave statement about how she was so taken aback because she just found out about how one of the Japanese writers for the show was just found out or accused of doing something absolutely horrible and heinous and terrible and completely unforgivable. She just doesn't know how she can carry on anymore. She voiced like one of the main characters of Ruby. Find out that the Japanese guy, who was the writer for Ruby, apparently got put in jail for 3 days because the Japanese police were called to his house for a domestic disturbance and assumed that he hit his wife. His ex-wife, and his ex-wife said, no, he didn't hit me. But they still jailed him anyways. And so he's like, yeah, I just don't want to talk about this because I don't want to cause my ex-wife any more trouble or harm or whatever else. And so this is what she's wholly upset about. When a fucking week ago, Drexel, one of her Ruby co-stars just got outed as a pedophile for touching a little boy's penis and asking for explicit photos from an under 16-year-old, asking him for naked photos and stuff like that. Not a fucking word from her. Not a fucking word at all. Mm-hmm. No, she doesn't know how she can go on. She doesn't know how she can go on with life knowing that a writer for a fucking anime that she didn't even read his fucking script because when it came over, it got processed by fucking morons in Funimation anyways. Brought over by them. She doesn't know how she can go on knowing that she read his lines because he didn't hit his fucking wife. Give me a fucking break.
And this is the same people who piled on Vic Mignogna.
Exactly.
Same group.
Same people that fucking piled on Vic that had absolutely no business doing so. They all stayed fucking completely silent about this bullshit too. No one is in the fucking corner when a fucking young boy is getting taken advantage of and molested by a male voice actor. No, not at all.
Oh, and did you see the tap dancing they did when he retracted his stories? So the accuser who came forward with the receipts, Drexel, he had the receipts.
No, hold on. Now, Tim, do you ever notice something before you get to your point? Males always have receipts. Have you noticed that?
Always.
Like dudes don't just make accusations like, hey, Cress, someone did something to me when I was whatever. No, they always have receipts, but go ahead.
No, so, of course, he comes forward with the receipts, right, which is different than all of the other people who come forward with nothing.
Yeah.
In fact, stories that are implausible, if not impossible, right? And then he was pressured to retract them. And, Cress, you know this story much better than I do.
Oh,
please,
I do.
Please tell us why, like, what happened.
So the accuser came out saying what happened. I'm not a big fan of his Google document because there is a lot of holes in it. However, the person he accused, Damon Mills was the one that was accused, actually came out and stated these things happened, but they were consensual. Number one, you can't consent with someone who's under 16 in Ohio. Number two, you can't ask someone who's under 18 to send you explicit photos. That's a non-starter. So he comes out and says that this happened, but it was consensual between the two of them, which, it sounded like they might have had some degree of relationship based on their messages back and forth. About a week after the original accusations came out, the accuser came and recanted because he didn't want his identity and he feared being retaliated against by people in the industry. Well, lo and behold, people in the industry were emailing the publication that printed it. They were emailing the accuser himself, saying that if they didn't remove the story immediately, that Damon Mills was going to kill himself, and that they were going to be the ones that have to print about it, and everything else like this. And so they're like, well, the publication's like, well, sorry, the news is already there. We're not doing it. We'll update the story, but we're not removing articles. And we find out that these are his fucking coworkers that are sending these emails out because he's like going out and pressuring everybody exactly like the kid said he was doing to begin with. Like, and then not a fucking peep. These people knew for 5 months, Drexel.
Oh, I know.
Knew for 5 months.
They were sitting on the information, right? Like they were
sitting
knowing.
On it.
Yep.
For 5 months.
It's always like that. Because, Cress, here's the thing. Like Tim said, right? Implausible, more closer to fucking possible, right?
Yeah.
Because when you listen to these stories, like I said, this is the reason why I always give props to all of those out there who have a swinging dick between their legs. They have this habit of having actual receipts. Cress, I don't know if you heard about that story where the guy in Scotland, we had covered it with Phil. He had 40,000 texts that prove he was innocent, right? But he served hard time, right?
Of course.
Because the cops failed to disclose to his defense lawyer.
They hushed it. Like the Crown prosecutor, they literally kept this information because it didn't fit the narrative, right? Like man bad, man is a rapist. So all of a sudden, the dude is spending time. It was his lawyer who got a hold of this, right? Because I'm assuming he's probably keeping in contact. He had like, I don't believe this kid did it, and somehow he was able to get that. I'm assuming obviously in the discovery, and he realizes, wait a minute, they were keeping this hidden. This would have proved beyond any shadow of a doubt that he's 100%. He's not even not guilty. He's innocent, right?
Yes.
And what ends up happening is everybody's in the know. These judges know. These
know.
prosecutors know. These cops know. The investigators know. These people know. And see, so I attack these people daily. And it's why I can't fucking stand conservatives. Because you know who they simp for the hardest, Cress? Everyone I just named, right?
Yeah.
I have never heard a conservative go hard at judges or
you can't possibly have
prosecutors.
someone wrong in authority until you have someone wrong in authority.
Yep. They just I'm convinced every single conservative sits around at night, clicks videos, and just watches a prosecutor going ahead and stating a case and just starts jerking off. They watch cops, right? They watch what is it, Live PD? People. Yeah, they watch Live PD, seeing them terrorize, a lot of black and brown people, but white people too, like they did to that poor guy in that fucking hotel where they yeeted him on his knees, right? Yeah. And they jerk off to that shit, like, oh, look at all that authority. Oh, you guys are always right. I back the blue. Fuck back in the blue, okay?
Yeah.
When it comes to these judges, right? Do you know, this is the reason, like I said, I go so hard at conservatives for a reason. Because, see, I have more respect for the left than the right. Because there's a couple of reasons. One, they get shit done. Doesn't matter if it's the wrong thing, they get shit done. And they don't hide behind avatars. They don't Chris, when's the last time you heard a leftist hide behind an avatar? They use their real name, don't they? Think about it.
Quite a few go after Cress behind avatars.
Some, but I'm saying the most vocal
communities like that.
The most vocal hardcore leftists are open. Alyssa Milano's open.
AOC puts her stuff out there.
Yep, AOC.
Yeah, right?
I mean, they aren't hiding. But the right wing,
they're like they got their dick on the fucking table.
Yeah, right. Just boom. They throw that fucking thing out, balls included, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at the right, you go like this. Okay, respond. My principles. Shut the fuck up. I can't fucking stand conservatives. They're less than useless. Because all they're going to do is say, my principles. And every time you show the same people they simp for, right? Like, what's that fucking cuck I can't stand? Jerry Falwell Jr., an actual cuckold, right? They try to like look at, they always talk about masculinity, right? Yet one of the first tenets of masculinity is that like you have something to stand on. I'll talk to 5 simple words about this, right? It's having conviction, right?
Yeah.
That's a sign of masculinity or insanity.
You have to have conviction.
You have to have conviction,
and that's really intimidating for a lot of people.
Look, I always tell people, man, I can always show my fucking face.
Yeah.
I didn't use a fake name. I used my real name for a reason, Chris. Because I tell people all the time, the camera. This is I talked about to Hammerhand about this. Shout out to my man Hammerhand. I don't turn this camera off and then become someone else. You see what I'm saying? I'm the same dude. Nick Recaita's the same dude. My views don't change. Because see, a lot of people like Jack Murphy, right? Yeah. See, Jack Murphy tried to pretend, right? He presented an image. Right? He was a snake oil salesman to cuck conservatives, and they bought that shit hook, line, and sinker because they want to feel
snake
accepted.
Lube salesman.
Yeah, snake lube salesman, right?
Speaking of snake oil, there's a skunk outside my garage right now.
No
I can
shit.
smell it. Yeah,
oh, that sucks.
That's not weed. That's a skunk.
well,
so I'm gonna have to go scare it away without getting sprayed.
Good luck. Well, the thing that bothers me about all of this, though, Cress, is that like. There's much bigger things at play here, right?
Yes.
And I want to ask you this. Where do you see a lot of this going on a socio-political level moving forward? All these agendas, all these people bickering back and forth, you're seeing the moral decay, societal collapse. It's one of the things that like the movie had its flaws, but I think that's something that the new Batman movie got right. Right?
Oh, I love the new
Batman
movie.
It nailed it. Like
fucking
nailed that. Like the whole like corruption and evil creates something like significantly more evil. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like
yes.
all you had to do was just do the right thing, but because you didn't have conviction, what happened? You create the villain. So if someone's going like this,
Exactly.
Crest, I'm appalled. We just need to, the Riddler should just be like, no. You created the Riddler. Now you have to deal with it. See,
Exactly.
this is a reckoning. You see what I'm saying? This is a reckoning. You allow, and let's face it, Batman represents a reckoning, right? Because think about it, Crest. Why does Batman truly exist? What is Batman's purpose? It's because Gotham is so fucking corrupt. It's
because the authority failed.
The authority failed, so what happens? Vigilantism has to step forward, right?
Yeah.
Remember, you and I both know, Bruce Wayne doesn't wake up saying, like, this is what I want to do with my life, right? Risk my life beating down criminals to a pulp, like, and jumping off rooftops and using gadgets. You think that's what he wakes up going, yeah, that's because he knows you're putting your life at risk, right? And he was probably thinking, for what, though? He even says in the movie, I've been doing this for 2 years. I don't know if things have gotten better, right?
Yeah.
He's looking around like, shit, has anything gotten better? Like, I'm putting myself out there.
And you can tell it drags on him because he looks like shit as Bruce Wayne.
He looks terrible. And like, it really got that right because, Crest, where is this going, right?
Yeah.
Look at society. I want your take on that. Where do you think all this is going?
We've started to see cracks in it so far, but with the extremism that's going across everywhere, it's hard to tell because there is an acceleration as a group going out there that's causing this to happen too. But it's also a fact of the powers that be. They're not really in any hurry to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
They want things to be social anarchy because that gives them excuses to crack down on more authority based things and take away freedoms and then scare the nice little sheeple that we've been creating over the past decade or 3 decades, scare them and saying, oh, daddy government, please govern me harder, please.
Yep. They're gonna basically they're gonna literally beg to be slaves. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
And a lot of people don't understand what I mean by that because I've told multiple people that when it comes to a lot of these weak bitch-made beta males of today, the reason why their whole life revolves around women is that deep down, right, when they go to sleep, do you know what they want, Chris? Well, more than anything, they want a woman to tell them what to do. Like they want to be a slave. They want to be a cuck.
They don't want responsibility.
They don't want responsibility. They want to go like this. No, Drex, I want to be the man of the house. Let me ask you this, Chris, in all honesty. When you're out and about, you're in Canada doing your thing, and you just see people throughout your life, right? How often have you seen the man is calling the shots? If we have 100 couples, how many times do you see the man is truly the one calling the shots?
Not so much anymore.
What percentage would you give it?
Wow. Right now, I wouldn't even say more than 10.
So 10% is the max, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying you're looking at...
unless we're talking about and this is horrifically racist, but unless we're talking about couples that are from the Middle East or India or Saudi Arabia, stuff like that, because we have a huge myriad of races here. And those are those are literally the only people that I see where the man is dictating this, that, and the other thing. Mm-hmm.
But you know what the problem is, though, is that the children are still going to have those Western influences. You see
of course they are, yes.
Because over time, that's going to start breaking down, right?
Absolutely,
yes. We're okay, I see Arab girls, Indian girls, thotting it up, doing the same thing that the Western girls are doing. You see what I'm saying?
There's a fucking website called Radical Jislam, Drex.
Yeah, but shout out to my man Duke Skywalker. Shout out to Duke. Chris, one of the things that I find funny about this, you were talking about the extremism, right?
Yes.
I want to ask you this question because, it's something that pops up every time I think about, the Riley J. Dennis of the world, right? What do you think about sexual bullying? Where, I've seen this where they're like, if you don't date or smash trans, you're transphobic. This whole
stupid
bully mentality. Stupid. Right? It was similar to if you don't vote Biden, you ain't black. You see what I'm saying? I'm
afraid you ain't black.
Bully tactics. How do you feel about that?
I think it's dumb. Let people sleep with what they want to sleep with as long as they aren't fucking sleeping with kids. Please. Mm-hmm. It's I don't care if you want to go out and peg a freaking Peggy the land whale. Go for it. As long as it's legal, consensual, blah blah blah. Go for it. limit yourself to of age people. There you go.
Of age consenting people.
Of
because,
age consenting adults.
Yeah, it's like the simplest thing. Now, Cress, when it comes to a lot of these topics, right? Consent and age and this and we do that, I got to ask you this. There's more and more Me Too nonsense going on, right?
Of course there is.
You saw it happen to Deshaun Watson. Shout out to him for beating these bullshit charges in the criminal court. Now he has to go to civil, right? I want to ask you this. You've had Vic on. You've had Quentin Flynn, the voice of Raiden in one of my favorite games ever, which is Sons of Liberty. And they've been on your show. Can you talk about how much their cases differ from, say, a Jussie Smollett in terms of like the way the media coverage and the public perception in regards to them? You see what I'm saying? Because, like, remember, you saw the people who were accused, right? Vic and Quentin were accused, right?
Yeah.
Then the evidence shows this is bullshit. And then the public perception did not flip back and they went, oh, we better go after the real accuser, right? Like, basically, they didn't look at the men as victims. They look at them, you're still bad. Even because you were accused, you're bad. Now, on the flip side, Jussie, people believed a story that you knew was bullshit, right?
Of course.
You heard that story. You went, this shit don't make no kind of fucking sense. Now, Cress, the media, after he was found to be guilty of fucking, making a fake race hoax, which could have literally started a race war, right? Very irresponsible, very dangerous game he was playing, right? Probably a psyop, a plant. Now, Cress, I got to ask you, how do you feel about that these narratives push these stories more so than, like, what's real?
Well, look who's getting in the fucking positions to make those decisions. It's not a surprise.
Yeah, Supreme Court Justice, right? There, it's coming up. We got a German Shepherd who wants to give pedos 3 months, right?
Look at the people that are getting in as fucking editors in news publications. Look at who's getting in, like, as who's calling the fucking shots in these things. They're all these psychotic, agenda-driven lunatics.
Left and right.
Well,
Rebel.
yeah.
Up here in Canada, we got Rebel News.
Yes.
But then you got Ricochet on the other side, Press
Absolutely.
Progress from the Broadband Institute.
The
Cress may
Toronto
know
Star?
Yeah, the Red Star, as we call them jokingly here.
And the Toronto Sun, like, they're both, like, extremes.
Wasn't the Gian Gameshi case quite similar?
Yes. It was very, very similar.
Tell Drex about the Gian Gameshi case.
So he was accused. I'm not like super familiar with all of it because it's been a long time. But he was accused, and he got fucking just strung out in the town square.
Oh,
like he was just like.
What were the accusations though? Like what was like the context of the allegations?
A guy in power. He was a talent for a radio show. What was his radio? It was called Q, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
What a funny coincidence.
Right.
Anyways,
so he has a show, and so who was the person accused then though? What was the relationship? What was the relationship though?
Work relationships. Women under in his studio.
Okay.
Accused him of being a creep and using his power over them to get them to sleep with him.
Do they have any receipts?
No, he did.
No, I know he
showed
did.
the receipts.
Did they have receipts? Could they prove any of this?
Nope. But he showed the receipts of these women texting. The main accusation was that he was choking them, and they didn't give him permission to do that.
Wait, what is this guy's name? I got to look this up.
Gian Gomeshi. Here, see if I can spell that for you.
Well, because I love these kinds of stories.
I'm pretty sure he got found.
There he is, Gian Gomeshi.
Like they didn't find.
Well, they couldn't file anything against him. But actually, Drex, Gian Gomeshi, he's Iranian born, but he's a Canadian radio host. Here, let me show you.
Figured he was. I thought he was Middle Eastern.
Here we go. That's him.
Oh, okay. So Gian Gomeshi.
When you look like that, you're passable for
a
lot of stuff.
What is post-incident contact? Well, no, hold on. No, fuck that. No.
Okay,
I'm not letting that slide. What is post-incident contact?
So, Drex, you remember the rape shield law that Canada has?
Yep.
He's the origin of the rape shield law because he pulled out receipts and said, look, after we had sex, this girl texted me back. She said, I had the best time of my life last night.
Which is what happened to David Portnoy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where the girl's like, oh my God, it was amazing. I'm so, blah, 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 and they have all this. Yeah. So
he did the Dubai porta potty treatment on him, right?
Oh, did he?
And well, no, not literally. Well, figuratively. I mean, okay, hang on. I don't know that he didn't. It's possible. He is Iranian born.
It's one thumb up.
It's possible. I mean, he was choking bitches. He said it was consensual. They asked him to be choked.
Look, they always ask.
Now look at him. Drex. I mean,
he's a good-looking dude.
He's a good-looking dude.
Good-looking dude.
You get away with that
stuff. He's
stuff.
got money. Yeah, look, Trump wasn't lying when he was talking to Billy Bush. Look, Cress, I've had this conversation, man. We started a live chat, and I was talking to wifey. God, I can't stand looking at Trudeau. And I'm talking to Kat about this, right? And we opened the live chat with the simple question of, in terms of like rough play, right? And we started asking the guys in the chat, like, hey, do you guys feel comfortable if a girl says, like, choke me or slap me or something like that? And you're starting to see more and more dudes like, no, fuck that. Like even if a girl's like, no, seriously, I'll sign papers, whatever. Guys have gotten to that point now, Cress. They're like, a chick can literally like I'm gonna tell you, Cress. I'm gonna tell you what the new kink is gonna be going forward. I hope you're ready for this shit. This is gonna be some next level shit. The new kink going forward is renting out jail cells. And do you know why? People are gonna start going to the police station with the consent forms and fucking in jails, being like, hey, I was at the police station. The cops were there. I got signed documents. You see us walking in. Because remember, there's cameras everywhere at police station, right?
Yeah, cameras in the cells.
Yep. It's, Cress, that's going to be, people think, no, Drex, that's crazy. Cress, have you seen any of this, like these insane laws, like these 100% one-sided feminist laws going, like, they haven't even bent the other way. They haven't been like, hold on, guys. We got to give the accused some form of like rights and protections, right? You haven't even heard legislation about that, right? It's all one-sided. Title IX is one-sided. Me Too and Time's Up is one-sided. So I mean, look how poor Vic got done. Look how Quentin got done. Cress, if a sane person sat down and listened to these allegations, okay, hit me with it, and I just sat down, I've never heard the story, and I just closed my eyes, and you give me the story. I'm sitting there looking at you like, so the guy was obviously exonerated, right? And then people were like, not really. He was kicked out of every Comic-Con or whatever, anime con. You're like, wait, what?
Look at what happened with Chris Noth.
Yeah. That's Mr. Big, right?
Mr. Big.
Got done dirty. Real dirty. Hey, you know what? I'll tell you what makes the Chris Noth thing even dirtier. Where's the support for that person? Because when someone says, oh, yeah, this happened in 2000. What year was this? It's like 2003. It was something stupid. These hoes were coming up saying like this was, I think it was like the end of last year, right? It's like 2021. They were saying this happened in 2003 on the set.
And they fucking walk out looking like a dehydrated orange.
Yeah, you're sitting there looking like, oh, really? This guy did that to you? Yeah, he definitely did. And they never have receipts. All it is tears became the new receipt, right? Oh, my God.
I'm telling you, it's because women have been taught to weaponize emotional stories.
Yep.
And it always works. It always has from the dawn of time.
It only works because simps allow it to work.
Yeah.
Here's the beauty of it. Human trials to begin on new male birth control 99.
You want to talk about simps allowing things, Drex? Here you go. This is what the simps allowed. The male birth control pill.
Oh, that's gonna be great. This is gonna be shout out to my man Red who called this. This is gonna be Raw Dog City. Chris,
Raw Dog City.
I have said for years, and here's what's crazy. I've had women agree with me. Birth control started in the 1960s. Should have been given to men, not women. Because so Chris, I want you to think about this for a second.
This is the thing. Like women have proven, and oh my God, internal misogyny. Women have proven time and time again that they can't be responsible. That they don't want responsibility.
They don't want it. now, Chris, now think about this for a second. You have a bunch of guys who have the pill, right?
Yeah.
99% chance effectiveness, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think guys who are out there pumping and dumping are gonna like fuck up with the pill and be like, no, I forgot, or I want to get the chick knocked up. You see, because women are like this. Just go ahead, Tim. I'm on the pill. You know this bitch is lying. You see what I'm saying?
That's right. Why put hot sauce in the rubber?
Yeah. Why would he Drake style, right? Another Canadian. Cress, why would a dude self-sabotage? Like, a guy's not going to say, yeah, babe, don't worry, I'm on the pill, and then knock a chick up. That doesn't make sense. But for women, it does make sense because they know they can get benefits from daddy government if they go, no, it's okay, I'm on the pill. Oh, you can. These hoes ain't on the pill. Come on now.
Now, Drex, consider this. So that's in the experimental stage right now. They're still testing on mice, right? What if you were told you have to lose your job unless you start taking this pill? Because that's essentially what the that's essentially what the poke was.
This is more population control. Now I'm not gonna lie. This one I'm actually for, surprisingly enough, only because of what Cress said. Men are going to be responsible with the pill. Like I said, no observable side effects, right? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, we're going to do a pure hypothetical here, right? For the sake of argument, Cress, this thing is legit and it's 99% effective, right?
And safe.
If you thought, remember, the number one selling pill in human history upon launch was Viagra, right? People were more concerned with getting their rocks off than taking their high blood pressure medication, cholesterol blockers, vitamins and shit. Like, so when people, like, I've made comments and I've been on Nick's show and people thought, why does Drex talk about sex? Dude, intergender dynamics literally drive every last thing you see on Earth. Everything you see, Cress, is due to that dynamic, right? And yet people, why are you talking about that? So you want me to talk about what? Like, why do these videos that said, like, was it the gay men's choir, right? We're coming after your kids. Why do you think they're pushing this stuff?
Yes, I wanted you to ask Cress about the Florida bill, too.
Oh, yeah, Cress, Florida bill.
Don't say gay. It? Well, and that's actually related to the drag queen story hour we were talking about, right?
Yep.
Like, there is an age-appropriate time to talk about this stuff. It's not in grade 3.
Oh, no. I talked with Crow about this last week, or earlier this week. I don't think schools should be teaching half the shit that they're teaching, first of all. Why are we fucking teaching kids anything that's not like doing their fucking taxes or, how to fucking cook a fucking meal or anything else like that? Why are we teaching kids calculus in fucking grade 5? The shit that they're never going to fucking use in their life. Why aren't we teaching them more practical things in school?
They teach about to masturbate now.
Ridiculous stuff. Like, exactly. Why are we teaching them
bullshit?
That? Yep. Why are we teaching
province?
Them that?
I can't remember. Is it my province or is it your province that just announced they're adding financial literacy to the high school requirement?
Well, they should.
Yes, we've been begging for that for the last 50 years.
Like, they fucking... I brought this up, like, my cohort was the last cohort to be taught civics in high school. And by the time I was in high school, civics was a half-credit course.
Ah, yes. I remember that.
And the thing is, that was teaching people how to vote, what the government does, how to, express your opinions if the government does stuff that you don't like them doing, how to get involved, all that stuff, how to be a good fucking citizen.
Well, it also taught you about the fucking Constitution.
Exactly. You fucking learn about the Constitution. You learn about what government is supposed to do at all levels. It teaches you how to hold them accountable, but they took that out.
I had that in 8th grade with it was my swim. It was the swim teacher for the high school team was my civics teacher. And see, I love civics. Great class. And he was a great teacher. And you're right. The things that are being taught is, like I said, what they're teaching you is not to be a self-sufficient, high-quality citizen. What they're teaching you is to be, like you said, Cress, a good little fucking sheep. That's what the education system is designed for. It's designed for when they start saying stuff like, hey, Timmy, are you ready to come over here and take your estrogen pills and hormone blockers? Yes. You see, Tim showed the picture of that young boy with the mask on.
Oh, let me find
his eyes were literally dead.
Yeah.
He was so at this young age, this boy's already just done, right?
I hate over-medication. I fucking hate over-medication.
He's just done. ADHD meds. Yeah. They only drug the boys because they turn all schools into this feminist indoctrination center where they go like this. The way that we're going to teach is only going to benefit girls, right? That's why boys feel lost because why is this not clicking? It's not clicking because this isn't how boys learn. Remember, because boys and girls are the same.
Well,
and then
when
they
was,
go like this.
when was
Boys
the
are
last time
defective
that you've heard of a strong male teacher?
You just don't. They're all beta males,
just
man.
don't.
They're the most beta bitches you've ever seen.
My computer science teacher in college. I had a really good biology teacher. He owned a snake, and he let us play with the snake when we finished our schoolwork early.
My last great male teacher was in grade 9.
Isn't that crazy? Well, you know what's crazy is Crest. They have these fake intellectuals, right? I don't know if you saw the video. Jeremy did a great video. Jeremy of the Quartering did a video on Steven Crowder, right, where he completely trolled the whole like fat body positivity movement. Did you see that? Like he did the makeup and everything.
See that.
He was a body positivity trans activist something or whatever,
For
right?
God's sake.
I'll have to see the video. The troll was so great that like Steven Crowder in makeup as this character was asked to speak by scholars at like whatever conference or whatever. So this is where all when you see like the DSM updates a new edition, and they come up like masculinity is toxic, and you're just like, where the fuck is... So basically the whole thesis is basically Donald Trump is the reason why I'm fat, right? Which is what Stacey Abrams said, right? I'm fat because I'm obese because of Donald Trump. And it's like no accountability, no self-awareness, and I'm just like, you guys can't be... and Chris, it gets that bad, but at the same time it's like, this is what people vote for. Or if they don't vote for it, they allow it. Because they don't... If you were really masculine, you would be out front and open. Like, okay, you would be reading the same way the left reads. You see what I'm saying? As they're going crazy and marching, you should be matching that, if not exceeding that. You see what I'm saying?
All right, give me a second to pull this up.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
But, this is the picture. Man. This is the picture he was talking about.
So sad,
Cress, when you see this kid's face,
Look
at those eyes.
Yeah, he's done.
He's already done.
That's a school shooter.
Look, hold on, Chris. Do you know what's more important than his eyes?
Oh, the cop
cop's
in
eyes.
mine?
Look at her. Can you
Look
just
at
see
that
the
grin.
smile under that
A
mask?
beaten down, emasculated boy. Like, I don't know if you know this, Chris.
Look at this.
They've
over
done
here.
studies.
Look at this
They've
guy.
done studies about. Yeah, he's a Jesus. And look at him though.
Yeah.
No, Chris. They've done studies. Do you know when women are at their absolute happiest? Did you know when it is?
Well, they have other people miserable around them.
Yeah, when the man is miserable in particular.
Yeah.
So the more miserable that like I said. Now, when are men at their happiest?
Well, usually
When all their friends are happy.
everyone's happy around them.
When everyone around them is happy. For people to listen to that and not see, hold on. How can one side be given any fucking credit for being good? Period. This is biologically proven. They did studies in terms of, like I said, I talked about this with TFM for torture, right? The way you get information out of women is to just torture them, right? Them physically. And they'll just cough up whatever they want, right?
Yep.
Men don't break from torturing them. You have to threaten something that they love, and they break. Yep. Women don't care because they don't love. I'll threaten your kids. Yeah, I can go make new ones. I'll threaten your husband. Yeah, I can get another husband.
You can put a nail through TFM's hand. He probably wouldn't even tell you his bank account PIN number. But if you have Celestina, I bet you can get him to do a lot.
He has an emotional attachment. Like, men break when you go after the things they love. And in Cress, I got to ask you, because you talk about TFM with the dolls. Cress, do you think it's ever going to be socially acceptable for people to date trans?
We already see, speaking from somebody who is in that sphere of things, that people don't. They might say that they're pansexual. They might say that they would date. Men more often than anything else will date trans women.
Mm-hmm.
Men will date trans women. Women will not date, even if they call themselves pansexual or bisexual, or they don't care. They will not date trans women.
Yeah, they'll date male or female, straight up. In terms of, they're bisexual, or actually no, they are pansexual. They fuck dogs. Yeah, these white chicks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the dogs and the peanut butter.
Drex, did you hear the story of the Chinese woman who got the dog stuck in her?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus, that's crazy. Now, Cress, with you're being
But
in
the Asian
Canada,
women are different. Chronic says the Asian women are different, Drex.
Man, I've had to send Chronic some things and let him know. I said, Chronic, man, they're just as awful. Don't be deceived, because why their birth rates collapsed. Now, Cress, when it comes to things collapsing, dog fuckers. Now I gotta ask you this, Cress. The exodus out of these major cities. What do you think about that?
For which?
Just like, you're starting to see these major cities, right? Like basically politics and policy is now collapsing on economic reality and the new social order, right? Because if you sit here grandstanding and try to virtue signal, no, Cress, we have to give all crackheads clean pipes and heroin addicts clean needles. We have to raise taxes. And then all of a sudden, oh shit, we can't prosecute crimes of theft that's less than $950, right? How long before they realize, oh shit, now they go into Walmart and just flash mob steal everything, and we don't prosecute them because that's racist, right? All of a sudden, rampant crime. Shout out to my man Joker, a Better Bachelor, did a video about this I think a day ago or two. He talked about the elites moving. Dog makes an appearance, making a thing where the elites are like moving out of Hollywood. And Tim, I don't know if you remember Bloomberg saying this in New York. He said, "Heaven help us if the."
I'll be right back. I have to take him out for.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Tim, he talked about this. Bloomberg said, God help us if the rich ever leave New York, right?
Isn't Billionaires Row very empty right now?
Dude, they're bouncing. They're like, here's the thing. Tim, I want you to
up to the
imagine this.
Hamptons, right?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. What's going to end up happening, though, is that they're going to just leave, period, right? Because here's the thing. All of this is, we've been living under a socialist economic order now for quite some time. People keep saying, socialism's coming to the United States. It's been here, right? The moment you have a central bank, you're already a socialist country, period.
Yeah.
And, as we look, going forward, I mean, Tim, those rich, those elites, the people with the big money, right? The big money. What happens when they start going, you know what, I'm going to go to Florida where the laws are better, right?
Or Texas.
Or Texas.
Because a lot of them left to Texas, right?
Yep.
Elon Musk,
Oklahoma.
Daily Wire,
Yep.
A lot of companies.
They start leaving. And remember, you have to tax the people that are there more, right? You have to squeeze them. Because it's all Ponzi scheme.
And remember, it was the contributors who are leaving and the takers who are staying.
Yeah, takers stay. Give me my freebies.
You're squeezing fewer people more and more and more. That was the thing. We accidentally elected a socialist government here in Alberta, the most conservative part of Canada.
Oof.
It was an accident. We split the vote. It won't happen again. But the wealthy oil executives were like, no, we need to do carbon taxes because climate change and all that fun stuff. And what did they do as soon as the carbon tax was implemented? One of them, and I'll name a name on this one, Murray Edwards. He is the CEO of CNRL, Canadian Natural Resources Limited. He fucked off to Scotland.
Of course he did.
Right? Multi-millionaire, right? Owns a beautiful loft in downtown Calgary. But he's got the means, right? This is the chief executive of an oil company in Alberta. Mm-hmm. So he's got at least $1 million in the bank, liquid assets to use anytime. Cool. He just fucks off to Scotland.
Of course he does.
And then all of us were stuck here paying for the thing that he advocated for.
Do you know where you actually see this same principle implemented most? Is in sports. A billionaire says, no, random city, I need this stadium built for $1.3 billion, right? And then what happens? Who actually pays for the stadium, though, Tim? The taxpayers.
Well, actually, I don't pay my taxes, so... No,
so the taxpayers pay it, right? But hold on now, Tim. Who gets the benefit of those profits, though?
Oh yeah, wealthy guy.
Wealthy guy.
There.
Hey, so
we just went through this. So our Saddle
sad,
Dome is like 30 years old, right? Our arena out here in Calgary for the Calgary Flames. So the guy who owned the Flames says, "Hey, city, I want a deal, or I'm taking the Flames out." Well, you can't do that, right? It's the Calgary fucking Flames. It's our hockey team, Drex. You can't take our hockey team out of Canada's third biggest city.
Oh man, wealthy, most affected by.
Yep.
by renovation
So
costs.
they put the deal in place, and the city was going to split the costs and do a revitalization of downtown. Our new mayor gets in and says, no, hey, Calgary Flames, you have to pay $13 million extra on the deal to cover climate change mitigation. And then Calgary Sports and Entertainment backs out of the deal. Says, nope, fuck you. Fuck you. We had a deal, and you tried to change it. Now it's off.
Damn.
They did build a brand new stadium up in Edmonton for the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh, nice.
And it's a beautiful building. But, yeah, it was half and half. Daryl Cates, who's one of the wealthiest men in all of Canada, he's the CEO of our pharmaceutical companies, right? One of the wealthiest men in this country. But no, half and half. He wanted the city of Edmonton to pay for it, and the city of Edmonton, being our socialist hellhole, they coughed it up, no problem.
Of course,
even though there's like 40,000 homeless people downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like Seattle and Portland. Now, Cress, I got to ask you,
Just colder.
How is Canada for you? How's it treating you, and how's life? I mean, all the the lighter stuff to get you out of here, that you don't have to have all the doom and gloom.
No, it's been mostly fine here. I mean, weather's getting better now, which is nice.
I know, man.
Any flooding in the river yet?
Not yet, no, thankfully. No. I thought it was going to. We got like fucking 20-degree weather one day, and just like everything just spraying everywhere. It was melting so fucking fast, but
oof.
Yeah, Crescent Neck of the Wood is weird because most cities, the river goes right down the middle, right?
Yeah.
That's the way most cities are done. If there's a river, it usually goes right through the middle. Calgary's like that. River goes right downtown. The Grand River, where Cress lives, it's like way out into the suburbs. They built the city on just like farmland. And then the river goes through the suburbs, so it's like you can't... To go for a walk at the riverfront is a half-hour drive.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Whereas here in Calgary, like I can walk to the river faster than she can drive there.
We've had a lot more people coming in from like Brampton and Mississauga and Vaughan and all that stuff because like Toronto is as great as Toronto is, not really. It's just like it's just full of fucking people all the time, and they can't stand their own people, and so they just go everywhere else and just fuck.
How does that work? What's like the social kind of arena in Toronto? How does that kind of work? Is it like like California? Is it just? Like,
it's our version of Los Angeles.
Yeah,
it's a city that's way too big for itself.
Yeah.
Everyone is an asshole. Everyone is the most important person.
The roads are falling apart.
Yeah.
Like okay, so look at the legitimate uses for government, right? Fill my potholes, build bridges, run the city, pick up the garbage, give me water, take the shit away, right? Those are what you do as a city. Toronto does none of those correctly. Rob Ford was the best Toronto ever had.
That was a crackhead, right?
Yep,
yeah, he was.
I love crackheads, man.
Well, and he was the best mayor Toronto ever had.
Yeah, clearly.
Isn't that sad?
Very sad.
So how was he viewed in Toronto? I'm curious.
He was loved.
He was beloved by the people.
Yeah, he was loved by the people.
Well, because he fixed things that were badly needed in Toronto. Drex, I told you about the garbage strike they had, where all the garbage collectors went on strike, and they spent 14 days piling a city of 4 million people, piling their garbage in city parking lots.
Ooh.
And so you had these mountains, and this is the middle of summer, right? It's 40 degrees, it's 85 degrees Fahrenheit, muggy because Toronto's right on the Great Lakes, very humid,
right on the waterfront.
Yeah, so all this garbage. So that strike lasted 14 days, and then they were like, "No, we can't. We're done. We'll give you whatever you want. You win." So Rob Ford comes in and he privatizes the garbage collection, fires all the city workers who are under those union contracts, and tells the private companies, "Hey, you guys do the same thing for less and better." Mm-hmm. So you do it. So he actually cut, even though he had to break the union contract, he still saved money.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious. So if Rob Ford was so great, how was he able to get elected in a city full of woke? Because like accountability is what the woke avoided like the plague, right?
Populism. Populism is the cure to and this is why Arnold won in California.
True.
Right? Rob
So
Ford
was Rob
is
Ford a hockey player or something?
No, he is the son of a well-known businessman and politician so his family is a dynasty. Mm-hmm. Of course, his brother, and then Rob Ford was a city councilor for God knows how many years, 10 years. So he was a very well-known name, and his family built some of one of Toronto's most employable businesses.
Okay.
The one of the few that didn't leave to go to Mexico. He runs it's a label making company. So, and he's just beloved. He always had that personal touch, right? His campaign slogan was, "I return every phone call." Right? So he'd post his cell phone number on Twitter, and people would call him and leave messages. And then he'd call them back. He'd say, "Hey, thanks for the message."
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't one of his staffers. You wouldn't get some 18-year-old girl going like, "Hey, this is the office of Rob Ford." No, while he was driving around everywhere in Toronto, because Toronto traffic, you have time.
Well, yeah, I actually excuse his crack use. This dude had to stay up all goddamn night to answer all these phone calls. He had to smoke crack.
He's running a city of 4 million people, right?
Yeah.
And, while he's riding around in the back of an Escalade, right, and all he's doing is he's just calling people back. And it's 30 seconds. Someone called him and said, "Hey, Rob, I've been trying to get this pothole fixed in front of my house. It wrecked my suspension." First thing he did next day, he pulled a city worker in a pickup truck right to the house, walked up to the woman's front door, knocked on it, he did his little photo, and then the city filled the pothole.
Okay, now that begs the question. Who came after Rob Ford? Because they had to come and fucked it up, right?
Yep.
So,
Rob had to quit because of health reasons, right? He died of cancer.
Yeah.
So when Rob quit, it was it John Tory, Chris? Yeah, it was John Tory, who's just
Tory.
A suit
over.
politician.
Yeah.
Right. This is a guy who's just done politics his entire life. He never ran a business.
Wow.
And he didn't do any of those things, right? He didn't call people back. That's what endeared. Oh, and Ford would always have these huge barbecues, right? You think of like a Texas barbecue, and everyone in the neighborhood comes over, and you have like 300 people in your backyard, and it's, 6 barbecues all in a row, all grilling.
Do people talk about like they miss him? I'm assuming Canadians have to be like, man, we miss Rob Ford. Like, if it was that good, you had to be like, fuck, this is what we're stuck with now. Like, damn.
Chris, feel free to disagree with this, but I would say that this country would be a very different place if Rob Ford was still alive right now.
I would argue to say that it would very likely, if one of the two Fords were running for Ontario Premier, it would probably have been Rob to do it, because he would have been and fucking hands down he would have slam dunked it, and it would have been a different Ontario.
None of those lockdowns, none of these people like. Drex, we still don't know the true number of young people who self-yeeted during the pandemic because of these lockdowns. Bad? We're still counting them.
Damn.
We're still counting the bodies. I had a friend of mine last summer. Last summer, he literally shotgunned an entire bottle of vodka and then popped enough painkillers to stop his heart. He's like, fuck it, I'm going out.
Chris, what do you think about the mental health aspect of like the youth going forward?
I think that this needs to be addressed in schools, because we're teaching kids how to use iPads instead of how to fucking do literally anything for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Conflict resolution, critical thinking, crisis management. I think all of this stuff needs to be taught in fucking school. And Chris, that would also fix the school shooting problem down in the States. Because, Drex, who's the one who does the shooting? Is it someone who's good at conflict resolution, who's well-adjusted in society? No, it's someone who gets picked on once and can't deal with it.
Yeah, they can't deal with anything.
It's the kid that gets picked on and then gets told that they're not allowed to do anything.
Yep.
They have to sit there and fucking take it and it.
Well, Chris, we talked earlier about Batman, and it's like basically from the kid's perspective, right? The shooter's perspective.
Yeah,
he's basically playing the role of the vigilante in his own mind, right? Like he's righteous, right? Like
he has no other option in him.
I have no other option. I mean, no matter what I say or do, you guys shout me down or whatever. So this is my solution. But
But then
Yeah,
we coddle
Jesus.
people and say, like, these people who are calling you fat, it's not your fault. They don't tell him to stop eating,
Yep.
right? Is his single mother telling him to stop going to McDonald's every day?
Of course
No.
not.
No. There's
fatherless
no accountability. Like, one of the reasons you get teased is because you are standing out from the crowd.
Yep.
There's one of two things you can do about it. You can either change the crowd or you can change yourself. One of those is easier to do than the other.
Yeah, well, easily. Definitely
So,
easy.
like, that's the thing. If you, I mean, some people get picked on for being short. That's fine. Learn how to
You
fight.
get- yeah, you
Fucking
get
Karate Kid
short,
that shit.
color, fat, skinny. I mean, people just, here's the thing. It's only a big deal if you make it a big deal in general.
Tribalism is like huge in schools.
But
yeah.
we don't tell kids that. We tell them, like, oh, you have to run and snitch to the principal. And God forbid should you ever hit back.
Yeah, a lot of times you can just kind of relax and it goes away. Like if someone teases you a little bit, you kind of rib them back or just kind of like laugh it off. Like, yeah, whatever, man. You just kind of keep
Oh,
it
now it
moving.
escalates.
Yeah.
I call
And
somebody
that's how people get stabbed.
Drexel. I call somebody fat. The next thing you know, people are calling up my job saying that, oh, can you believe this, that, blah, 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 blah. Like, you can't have a fucking opinion for these people that just literally have Jell-O for knees because they
Yeah.
can't fucking stand up.
Oh, speaking of Jell-O for knees, I saw if you Google Tess Holiday Disney World, there's an image that will pop up. I want you to, Chris. I'm gonna let you out of here with this. I want you to locate her kneecaps. Just
I know
Google-
exactly the image.
Oh, you
I
know what
know
you
the
want.
image.
Chris, now you're a smart Canadian. You're a gal that knows her kneecaps. I want you to locate Tess Holiday's kneecaps in this picture, man.
You know what the worst part is? The woman she's standing beside is also fat as fuck. But, I mean, Drex, it's the greatest thing ever, right? If you want to
She
look
has
skinny,
knees.
stand
It's
beside
next to
someone
the-
fatter
yes,
than
it's
you.
next to a fatter person.
Here, let me...
Chris, you're gonna need to locate these knees.
Did you enjoy that photo I sent you earlier, Drex?
Oh, you're horrible.
That is the human blimp that's been attacking me on Twitter, by the way. Oh my god.
Oh, wait, hold on, no, Tim. That's actually, wait. First of all, what's the body of that other one? That's literally shit like
Look at
Dr.
that
Robotnik.
fupa.
Yeah, that's literally Dr. Robotnik. Well, I'm looking at it. Look, where's the
Jesus
kneecap?
Christ.
Chris? Show me the kneecap. Zoom in. Look. Where's the knee? There's no knee. There's no knee.
I remember they were doing this on the Dick Show, too, and Sean, the audio engineer, said it looks like Donald Duck is stuck inside her belly roll.
Yeah, it's just.
And he's, like, trying to get out. He's like, sorry, mate!
I don't,
Good
man.
Lord, dude.
It's kind of sad, man.
You know, when the garbage bag is that full, you take it out to the fucking road. Like,
Oh, that
You
is
don't
good
take it
shit.
to
Well,
Disney
Chris, is there
World.
anything you want
Jesus
to address before we get you out of here?
I think there's a lot's been said, but I will say one thing that's a very unpopular opinion
Ooh,
is
love
that
these.
I don't think, because I've been reading the questions in the Discord as they've been scrolling by.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that anybody should be allowed to start hormone replacement therapy until they're 25. I think if they are interested in transitioning, I think if everything else like that, they need to learn what it means. I think they need to learn what the irreversible nature of it will be. I think they need to learn how to live as that particular chosen lifestyle. And that doesn't happen overnight when you're 13, 14, 15. I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And I think it's really unfortunate that we've gotten to a system where someone can literally walk into a doctor and say, I want to do this. And they just sign off on a piece of paper.
See, Crest just broke the Canadian law right now. Because apparently what Crest just did qualifies as conversion therapy.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're not allowed to discourage Drex. It's illegal.
Can't discourage people from transitioning.
Wait, what?
And see, remember, Canada does not have a First Amendment. We do not have a right to free speech anywhere in our Constitution.
Oh.
So the government can pass a law that says you can't say X.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll come here. I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah,
if
with
you're
that German
America or
Shepherd gets
Canada.
on the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
But
it's
say-
gonna.
saying as
Four-years max.
somebody, like as somebody who is currently going through the HRT right now and all that stuff, it took me, I would say I didn't know who I was as a person. I didn't settle into who I was as a person until I was 27, 28.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I look back, it's like, when I was 27, I was a completely different person from when I was 25, from when I was 23, from when I was 20, from when I was 18. Like, you changed so fucking much in that, like, time period. You finally, like, settle into who you are, and you settle down, and it's like, okay. Then you figure out who you are, and you move forward with that. But when people are saying that kids left and right, and they're prescribing hormone therapy to treat like borderline personality disorder, stuff that is literally life altering, like it just, I don't know what doctor's doing this, and I don't know when we cross that threshold of that being okay. Like, it literally needs to be. It's like, okay, well, you're going to live your life as a man. Like, you want to live as a man. Okay, these are the things that you're going to go through. This is what you have to learn to be a man, because you spent your entire life learning to be this way. You need to change and learn to be this way now. Or these are the responsibilities. These are things that you're going to have to be expecting. These are things like that. That needs to happen, because when you just hand the fucking keys to a goddamn supercar to a fucking 18-year-old, they're going to wrap the fucking thing around a tree.
Yep. Paul Walker style.
Like, what? How is that different from handing them a fucking prescription for something that's going to change them entirely?
Yeah, their brains aren't even developed.
And do a lot more damage.
And do a lot more permanent damage.
Honestly, you do more damage to your body than wrapping a supercar around a tree. Or, what Tim Horton did around a lamppost on the QEW.
It's fucking terrible, man.
Hey.
These people are unreal.
Fun Canadian trivia for you, Drex. So Tim Hortons, right? Our coffee and chain.
The little restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah, that was named after a Toronto Maple Leafs defenseman. Oh. Literally Tim Horton. Boy, way back in the day, like a long, long, long time ago. Well, after he retired from hockey, him and his business partner, Ron Joyce, started the restaurant together. They called it Tim's, right? They just named it after him. He wrapped his car around a post on the QEW. After he retired from hockey, but like not long after. So Ron Joyce said, okay, my business partner just fucking died in this huge accident. I'm going to name the restaurant after him. And that's how Tim Hortons got its name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a Maple Leafs defense. He was a good Maple Leafs defenseman too. He was
very good.
What is it called when they award you something after your death?
Posthumous.
Yeah, posthumously.
Posthumous award.
I think he was posthumously inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
But he was a very good hockey player and a big guy.
I'm always sad when I hear news about people like dying prematurely. I mean, you look at the people in your life that tend to pass, and like, oh yeah, they lived a full life, Crest. She lived to be 80, 90. She saw her family grow up, her grandkids. When people start passing in their 30s, 40s, even 50s. I mean, I've heard we have heart attacks in their 50s. Like, damn, like a heart attack at 51. Wow. Like, jeez, man. But yeah,
my friend was 24. Everybody. My friend was 24.
Sad. Oh, speaking of which, I gotta say this before we get out of here. Worst death I've seen in probably a long time. Did any of you see the video with the power tower death? That kid was 14.
Jeez.
Did you see that? Did you hear about that? No. The latch went up like this. You know the power tower, right, Tim? You go up like this.
Oh, yeah, the amusement.
And then, like, blast down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing was, this is a stupid one. You were leaning forward 35 degrees, right? The thing didn't have a seatbelt. The latch just went up. He just falls out. Splat.
Oh man.
It's like it was all recorded. It's like because somebody was recording because their family member or whatever was like on the right, like, oh my God, you look so good, honey. I'm gonna record you, and they're recording, and then just body falls out, and it's like, oh.
A bowl of stew, not stool, says apparently he was too fat for the lock. So
it was so bad. Like,
lose
it was
20
a literal
pounds.
Splat. Yeah,
everyone lose 20 pounds today. Me too.
Fuck.
Once I get my back fixed, I'm gonna lose 35 pounds. because I literally cannot do anything except a bicep curl with my back all fucked up.
Yeah, you gotta get the back fixed.
Yeah, I'm working on it. But anyways, Crest, please plug your show.
Oh yeah, folks, if you want to check me out on YouTube, it's Knuckleheads. Type in Knuckleheads so you can find me there. Usually every Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if I'll do one this week. I normally do, but I don't know. I was supposed to have a vacation last week, but then shit hit the fucking fan with a kid diddler, and I had to talk about it, so. I did one last week.
I like how you said you got to, because you really do. You really, you legitimately have to. Like,
yeah.
Even when you don't want you, I'm kind of tired, Crest, it's a long week of work. That shit just brings a fire out of you. You know what I'm saying? You're like, fuck these people.
Yeah.
You
should have seen
how let it go.
You should have seen how fired up Nick was covering that 3 months that guy got sent to.
Yeah.
Nick was fired up.
Well, because Nick's a father of 5. Like I said, it doesn't even matter if you're a mother or a father. It's just like, these are literally the I don't view pedos as humans. Okay, they're subhuman. So like anything that you do to them, I don't say like, oh my god, but that was too much, Crest. That was you were using Vlad Tepes level torture, right? Like that's unacceptable. No. There is no level of torture or yeeting that's too much for someone that does things to children. No.
Yeah. Anyways, a little bit of a dark note, but that's it for episode 70, everyone. Of course, you can find and support us on YouTube, Migtown Podcast, Patreon, Subscribe Star. You know how to find us. You know how to support us. Till next week, everyone. Stay frosty.
Stay toxic,
Bye-bye,
kings.
everybody.